Hi friends, welcome to week 2 of Explorers Club. This week we're learning about archaeology. So we're going to look at what archaeology is, why we do it, what archaeologists do, and then we're going to make our own fossils. And at the end I have some book recommendations for you guys, like always. So our quote is, "The more you know about the past, the better prepared you are for the future." And that was said by Theodore Roosevelt. So what is archaeology? Our dictionary says, archaeology is the scientific study of material remains, such as tools, pottery, jewelry, stone walls, and monuments, of past human life and activities. So that means that archaeology is the study of things that remain after a group of people are gone. So think about ancient Egypt or the Incas or the Mayans, ancient cultures that we no longer have with us, but who have left behind things like pottery or jewelry, things that we can collect and see as evidence of who they were and what they did. So archaeologists discover everyday items that ancient people used, like cups or plates. So one day your favorite hot chocolate mug could be in a museum. Archaeologists use material things to learn about history. From bones to bowls, everything is examined, dated, and used to figure out who these people were. Archaeologists only deal with human history. So a lot of times we think of archaeologists as the people who study the dinosaurs, but the scientists who study dinosaur bones are actually called paleontologists. One important thing to remember about archaeologists is that they must be ethical. Everyone in every job has a requirement to be ethical, but archaeologists work with humanity's past. Humans have not always treated each other kindly, and archaeologists have to make sure that they're treating the remains of somebody's culture respectfully. For example, archaeologists working where they may stumble upon American Indian cultural remains, like those bowls or cups or jewelry that we talked about, often will talk to the tribal governance of the area. So that's the group of American Indian people who live there or who lived there historically, and their government. And they make sure that the artifacts, that's the things that they're digging for, the jewelry or the pottery, are handled properly according to their culture and their culture standards. So basically, archaeologists have to be respectful even as they do the work that they're supposed to be doing. Making sure that their digs are ethical is an important part of an archaeologist's job. How do they do it? So first, they excavate. Archaeologists plan excavation projects, which are called digs, and it's exactly what it sounds like. They dig in the earth and preserve what they find there. Digs can be small and they can last for a few weeks, or they can be very large and last for months or years. They interpret. They use what they find and their knowledge of history to make guesses about the people who lived in the place where they're digging. They'll often work with a team to make sure that their guesses are the most accurate that they can be, which is important for our next point. They work together. Many people work with archaeologists at every stage, from scientists like biologists or chemists who work to figure out the composition of what they've found, what's inside of it and what makes it unique, to historians, archivists, and librarians. Those are the people who record the information and put it in context of history. To journalists and authors who write up the information and make it public for everybody to read. To museum workers, information technology people, that's the people who can work on designing exhibits, and designers, artists who work on making the presentation of these artifacts that they've discovered beautiful. So there are a lot of people who work with archaeologists to make sure that we can access history. And I think that's really awesome. So fossils are remains that have been fossilized or preserved in some way over a long period of time, up to thousands of years. So here you see a bug preserved in amber, and you also see the fossils of a leaf and seashells. And we're going to make a fossil today by doing something similar to the leaf, which is down at the bottom of the screen, where the image of what was there is pressed into stone or clay or sand, whatever material that then hardened and stayed like that for years and years and years. We're going to do it with dough, and we're going to press whatever item it is that you find, and it'll be super fun to go exploring and find something to press into your fossil. So maybe you can make that a day of it and find lots of things to press into fossils with your dough. Or maybe you have things around the house that you're like, oh, people in 1,000 years would love to see this. So like a quarter or a toy, anything that you think needs to be preserved for history. So let's make a fossil of our own. So first you start with your flour and your salt. You need a spoon, a measuring cup, a bowl, and something to make an imprint in the fossil. Also water. So we're going to pour our flour, and we're going to pour it up to 1 cup, or if you took the packet home from Jonesboro or Gray, you have 2 parts flour. So you'll pour both parts flour into a bowl. Like so. And then we're going to pour 1 part, if you took the box home from one of the libraries, or half a cup of salt. I'm going to mix it together, and we're going to start making our dough to press our fossil. Fossilized remains are what a lot of times archaeologists will work with. So you pour half a cup, just like the salt, or 1 part water. You can fill up your little plastic cup to measure if you don't have a measuring cup once you've poured your salt out. And then you just mix it up until it's all mostly mixed together. And then I took it and started working it with my hands because it was easier. I also pulled in some extra salt and flour from the bottom of the bowl just to make it a little bit more dry. You don't want it to be too wet, but you also don't want it to be dry enough that it cracks. So just mess around with it until it feels kind of like Play-Doh. There you go. So I laid down a folder, but you can lay down anything to cover your table, plastic, paper, whatever. And I pinched off a bit to roll out into a shape, into a circle, kind of like a sand dollar. And I took my pea plant from our first week and pressed it down. Now this first time I didn't really press it hard enough, so it doesn't leave much of a mark. So I tried again, and I grabbed something that I thought would really leave a mark. A binder clip, and you could use whatever you wanted. You could put a toy car in here, you could put a Lego, you could go outside looking for leaves or rocks or stones or twigs, whatever you'd like. Seashells work really well for this. And so I tried with our plant one more time, and you just really have to press it down and make sure that every little detail is taken in by the clay. And press it down until you're sure that it's ready, and then pull it up, and you can see that there are a lot better lines there. So if you're looking for more archaeology, there are some recommendations here. I am so excited that you guys joined us for our second week of Explorers Club, and I hope you keep tuning in. Enjoy!